Listener Request Month returns in September. That's right. As of right now, the request lines are open. If you want to make a selection and help us program the show, pick up your phone and dial 856-347-7328. That's 856-DISSECT. If you need to hear the number again, use the back button on your phone. Or check the show notes.
Or do the transcript. We learned that recently.
Yes.
You can search in a transcript.
You can. We were trying to figure out if we had a conversation on or off the podcast, and the internet was able to help us.
Yeah,
which
I was like, what was the tableside food I wanted to have at my hypothetical wedding? It was peanut butter.
Peanut butter. That's right. I thought it was restaurant, not wedding.
Well, I was saying an ultimate restaurant or at my wedding kind of thing.
Got it. Anyway, call that number 856-DISSECT, and we want your name, where you're calling from, and the movie you'd like us to do. Give us a couple quick sentences on it. Everybody's been very good about this. Normally I'm like, don't leave a 2-minute or 4-minute long message, but people have been pretty good. Yeah. Short, sweet, to the point. Let us know why you think it'll be a good episode or what you like about the movie or whatever, but keep it quick. And then we will do a live drawing later in August. The deadline for these is August 15th, that's a Thursday, at midnight. So 11:59:59.
The last echo.
Once the bell tolls.
The last echo of the last stroke of the last bell of midnight.
If it's August 16th, you are too late. So once again, name, where you're calling from, and the movie you'd like us to cover. Call 856-DISSECT. If you are international, send a voice memo to dissectingthe80s@gmail.com with all that information. So record it on your phone, send that email, and we will draw those out. Just make the subject line Listener Request Month. If you're on Patreon, you get a bonus episode too, and that will be probably put up in August, I'm guessing. So we'll do yours a little bit early. But visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn how you can support the show. See our previous ad for that, but you also get another shot at getting your movie picked if you go that route. Once again, 856-DISSECT, August 15th. Make those calls. This podcast is brought to you by our supporters at Patreon. Patreon listeners were just treated to an episode on the great children's classic, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the 26th bonus episode of this podcast, available exclusively to the folks supporting our Patreon at the $5 tier and up. There are more than 37 hours of bonus content available on Patreon across those episodes. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn how you can get a whole bunch of bonus content and other fun access to the show. Patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers. And with me, as always, boop, 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 Mandrew, the Macho Mandrew.
Andrew Lano.
And we are celebrating the return of Axel Foley to, well, it's not the big screen because it's a Netflix original, but the big screen of sorts by...
They're probably putting it in theaters so it's eligible for shit.
They usually do like two theaters, but...
Yeah, whatever the bare minimum is.
Yeah, so... we decided to celebrate that by asking Netflix to let us have a screener copy of Axel F, to which they said, silence. So because of that, we are instead doing Beverly Hills Cop, the original Martin Brest film from 84? Did I get
84.
That right?
It's 40 years.
Okay, that's what I thought. 40 years of Axel Foley. And we watched Beverly Hills Cop, so you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your Crazy Frog song. So it's your Crazy Frog song.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
I was very curious which way you were going to go.
Yeah, I didn't know that song was a cover.
You didn't know that the song is called Axel F.
I thought that was the frog's name.
Oh, no. Axel F is indeed Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, well now I know, but I just assumed Axel F was the Crazy Frog's real name.
Is this your first go around with this?
It is.
Or did you get pieces on cable? Okay. This is a movie that I think I have watched, like, if you added it up, probably half a dozen times, but end to end is a smaller number. it's one of those, it was on TBS or TNT or Comedy Central, because you could play this one on multiple networks because of the action comedy nature of it. So you could really, everybody get a hand on this guy. Directed by Martin Brest.
And I feel like there was usually at least once a year there was some kind of like Eddie Murphy marathon.
Sure, yeah, that feels right.
Usually, actually, it might have been because I know on like New Year's they would play Trading Places, Places.
Sure.
Places. Spaces is the show. So but I feel like there was like usually once a year like some kind of Eddie Murphy marathon that probably included this.
That feels right. Yeah, I mean, he has, so many movies that have hit the cultural lexicon. I think we talked about this before, but I'm 99% certain that it is accurate to say there was one single year in the 80s, it might have been 84, where he was on the number one TV show, he had the number one song, and he had the number one movie.
What TV show? SNL?
SNL, yeah. He was like such a breakout on that. It's like pretty sure he was the years that Lorne was not there. If I'm remembering that correctly, my SNL history is fuzzy over the years because I care about it less now. But like he hosted the show while a cast member.
What? Oh, weird.
Like they're like, who's hosting the show this week? Oh, Eddie. Eddie is hosting the show, and I'm pretty sure the reaction was just like, "Yeah, that checks."
So was it because he was in a thing that he was promoting?
No, it's because he was like such a megastar. Like he became.
Interesting.
I think that's right. Again, I did not Google this, and I half remembered is not a way to podcast, so I do apologize. But in any case, huge star, and honestly, I feel like that was my big observation watching this movie. Is like, man, he just pops in this movie.
Yeah, he's electric.
Like, every time the camera is not on Eddie Murphy, you're like, pan back over that way.
Yeah, right.
Not to say that there's not other good stuff. Like I like.
Honestly, if it's him and Judge Reinhold are kind of like the two big things in this movie for me.
They both really, but like
Taggart's good too. But like he and Reinhold and Murphy have a really fun little chemistry together.
But like even that one scene with Bronson Pinchot is very good. And
which one is he?
You could quibble up. The one with the ridiculous accent.
Oh, Serge.
Yeah, Serge. Yeah. Like Bronson Pinchot comes in, has 8 lines, and you're like, that character was great. Like, what a good bit. I mean, obviously, it's probably, I don't know what they're going for with that guy. Maybe it wouldn't be exactly.
Apparently, it was an impression. Allegedly, according to IMDb, it was like an impression of somebody.
It felt 100% like a guy that someone interacted with and was like, well, I'm saving that for later.
It said. Apparently that scene was supposed to have two gallery workers, but when they heard the one guy's, it said Serge impression. I was like, maybe Serge was like a cultural touchstone at the time.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it was like some guy who worked at the front desk at Columbia or something.
But why would they? But the way it was phrased on IMDb was like once they heard his Serge impression, like
maybe also,
like they'd be like if maybe like if you hear my Peggy impression, it's like well, who the hell's Peggy?
Well, don't discount the fact that everyone who submits these things to IMDb is a complete fool.
Yeah, I know. They're all dum-dums.
It could have very well been his Serge character, right? And they just were like Serge impression.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little bit of relevant information. Martin Brest directed this. He also directed Midnight Run. This guy clearly understood how to do the buddy movie.
Yeah.
Like 2 all-timers in the category. I know you didn't like Midnight Run. Still breaks my heart that you hated it so much. I would be curious, had we done Goodfellas first, if you would have liked Midnight Run.
Was Midnight Run Michael Keaton?
No, Midnight Run was the one
De Niro.
with Taggart and De Niro, yeah.
That was Taggart?
Yeah, Taggart was the other guy.
Oh, I didn't remember that at all.
Taggart is the antagonist who's also trying to catch Charles Grodin. And they
okay, that's why I was like, I thought it was Charles Grodin and De Niro, but okay, it is Charles Grodin and De Niro.
The third guy is Taggart.
Isn't he like in a black hat or something? Am I thinking? Am I?
I don't remember.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of Kurt Russell Breakdown. I'm thinking of the bad guy in Breakdown.
I was like, he does that. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, Taggart's there. Apparently in this new movie, Taggart's back. Paul Reiser's back. Serge Bronson Pinchot is back as Serge. They're just, everybody's here.
Did Jenny come back?
I am not certain of this, but I think Jenny may die in a subsequent film.
Oh, okay. Well, at least she comes back at some point.
I'm not sure of that. Someone out there is like livid at me not knowing the lore of these movies. I will also say, as I've said before, I am certain that the one of these I have watched the most times is Beverly Hills Cop 3. That I think was cheaper to license, and it had a theme park in it. So I think I would be like flipping the channels and be like, "Oh, is this Vacation?"
Or Jaws 3D.
Yeah. Oh no, but Eddie Murphy seems to be climbing on a Ferris wheel. Okay, I'm going to leave this on.
Because the one that just dropped is the fourth one, right?
Correct, yeah. Which is supposed to be pretty good. I think early reviews are pretty good. I'll be curious to see when this is out. You will know, but we don't know now. We're recording in advance, of course.
I'm more excited for Maxine.
I wouldn't say like Axel F is like my number one pick of the summer or anything, but I was like, well, that's going to be shitty. And I saw the trailer and I was like, actually, maybe not. It looked like this vibe, which is a movie I would watch.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Eddie Murphy doesn't like crank him out. So like he clearly has some selectivity to what he does.
And this one is also like very important to him. Like he's been trying to get this movie made for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like it's just, he's really been banging the drum for this. And it's like very clearly he cares a lot about this character. And I would hope he do it right. It also got rewritten by the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent guys.
Oh, I love that movie.
That movie was funny.
That's a great movie.
So you plopping Eddie Murphy's Axel Foley into that tone feels very right to me.
I agree. Definitely.
Yeah. So we'll see. But Martin Brest also directed Son of a Woman, the movie that ruined Al Pacino forever. Yeah, that's right. Ruined him forever. That became the only gear he had. Screaming, I'm doing this voice. And ended his career. His 9th film was Geely, and he never worked again.
Well, I mean, look, if you fly too close to the sun, your wings melt.
He got put in permanent movie jail, which is rare. Fucking John McTiernan went to actual jail for wiretapping studio heads, and he still directed movies.
What does he do?
He's doing, schlocky stuff.
I don't like anything I would recognize.
Oh, McTiernan is Die Hard. Is it the first Die Hard? I'm pretty sure it's the first Die Hard. John McTiernan.
Yeah. I mean, on a bummer note, fucking Roman Polanski fled the country to avoid jail time and still made a long career after that.
I feel asterisks because those are not American studios is perhaps the caveat there. Although maybe McTiernan is,
but still, like the actors, a lot of American actors still going.
It is truly disappointing the way actors. Let me say this: don't look up what Whoopi Goldberg said about him very recently.
Oh, Roman Polanski.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Don't just, you will be very disappointed by the ways that she talks about it. Let's just say that.
Was she ever in one of his movies?
I don't think so, but she talked about it on The View, so it was like, in the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
And I was just like truly appalled at it. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I just thought it was funny that they were like, Geely, the bomb of all bombs, you're done. No more directing for you, Mr. Brest.
Yeah. Is that Jessica Alba or J-Lo?
That's J-Lo, and that's the height of Ben Affleck.
Okay, because I know Glitter is Mariah Carey.
Yes.
Okay.
Also a huge piece of shit. I've never seen it.
Yeah, but my brain went Geely and Glitter were the same movie.
Geely was so bad that Kevin Smith is convinced that it destroyed Jersey Girl, and they had to cut basically Jennifer Lowe, wrong J-Lo, not J-Lo H, dies immediately in
Jersey Girl.
Kevin Smith's Jersey Girl. Yeah, she's the opening scene she dies in. And I've heard that it was basically there were some scenes with her, and after Geely, the studio was like, get her out of the picture.
Oh, okay. Got it. I was like, what do you mean Kevin Smith thinks? I was like, he was there. What, he should be a primary source for this conversation.
But then Jersey Girl, he thinks the reason why Jersey Girl tanked is because everybody was so off on Geely. They were like, enough of this Bennifer shit.
Yeah. Well, and then she's trying it again now.
They seem very happy.
No, not that. The movie thing.
Oh, that to me is pure brainworm loveliness of you're so rich and this is what you pointed at. Yeah. Okay, good.
But it's so funny to me that she has it in her head that people were clamoring for this stupid music video, movie, biopic, horror, thriller, psychological thing.
Here's the thing. There's a couple of pretty good J-Lo movies. Do I think she's a great actor? No. Is she like pretty good in some stuff? Yeah. The one is it called Hustlers where they're the
There's Hustlers.
the dancers. Yeah. She's awesome.
Even in her
that.
rom-com
She's
era, when
really
it was
good.
like Monster-in-Law, Made in Manhattan, like
Sure.
those are perfectly
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
plain movies. Like,
Yeah.
if that's an option, there's not much else. Sure, I'll throw that on. But like,
I remember being very creeped out by Cell, a movie I've never
oh yeah, with the
I
horse.
remember that being the horse scene etched into my memory permanently.
But she has it in her head that like people are clamoring for this specific thing, this weird thing that no one really asked for. And then that movie was like hemorrhaging money, so her response is to make a documentary about the making of this movie. And it's like, well, that's more money, J-Lo. And there's like someone, I was listening to a podcast and they were like, in the documentary, they paid for the rights to, I think we'll say, Under Pressure by Queen. Like, not a cheap song and a cheap band.
No. Yeah.
They paid for the rights for that song to use it to say that she's under pressure to make this movie. And it's like, where is the disconnect here?
Look, if given the choice between Jeff Bezos spending money to send his dorky ass to space or to give J-Lo a vanity project, I'd rather he blow it on the J-Lo vanity project.
But like,
if I'm being
I
honest.
mean, the Jeff Bezos one could get us one less billionaire. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'll say it quietly, but... And it's a joke if this ever shows up in court.
I'm pretty sure that you aren't capable of engineering a space rocket explosion.
No, but it could be a character thing. It could come up in court as some kind of character statement.
I see. Okay. Anyway, Beverly Hills Cop. We have Axel Foley, played by Eddie Murphy. He is a rising star in the Detroit police force. He's a young detective who we hear later somebody say is like very good and talented, but struggles with listening to authority.
A Jake Peralta.
A Jake Peralta type. Yeah, I would argue that perhaps Jake Peralta is an Axel Foley type.
Yes, obviously he came first, but
but what I like about this movie, well, hold on. So his friend gets murdered, and in order to try to solve this murder, he goes to Beverly Hills, where his friend recently was, and is trying to investigate what's going on and what caused his friend to get killed. Pretty basic cop story, but along the way, you get a lot of comedy and a couple of pretty dope action sequences, if I might say so. So, yeah, all of that is great. But what I was going to say is I like that this movie both kind of shows and tells. Like, we see Eddie Murphy be a pretty good police officer kind of early, and like we don't see him like make a big arrest or anything, but like there's a great conversation in this early going where he talks to his lieutenant or his boss, I'm not sure what the rank is, about how he like couldn't accept the low ball offer.
oh, it was I think it was like his partner, or like it was a same level I got.
Oh, not that guy. The other guy. The one who's chewing him out is definitely his boss. The one who's like,
yeah, but he says the lowball offer thing to the coworker guy.
Did I get that wrong? Okay.
When it's like when they're doing the Sorkin walk and talk.
The walk and talk. It's Paul Reiser at that point, right?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Mad About You.
Nope.
You don't know who Paul from Stranger Things?
Who is he in Stranger? You can't just say Stranger Things. There's 800 fucking people in that show.
He's Dr. What's His Nuts. I can't believe you don't know
the
who Paul
evil
Reiser
doctor.
is. He has curly hair. He has curly.
He plays
hair.
a doctor in Stranger Things.
He does like Woody Allen. He's like nice to 11. He's not the scary doctor. He's the nice doctor.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about.
He's got like a Woody Allen energy.
I believe you. I get it.
I can't believe you don't know who Paul Reiser is. I
don't know that name. No.
He had like a run of television success. He had Mad About You, and then he had like later.
Did he have success in things I would have watched?
Mad About
You're gonna be like Mad About You,
okay,
NYPD Blue,
Pause,
Taxi.
Pause. Do you think I, at age 12, was like, boy, can't wait to sit down and watch another great episode of Mad About You? No, it was on in the house.
Knowing who you are as a person, I wouldn't be shocked to hear that you were like weirdly into that show.
No, it was just on. It was Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt, or the other one that I never
Holly
remembered.
Hunter?
Looks kind of like Helen. Yeah, no. Whatever it was. I don't care. I don't want to talk anymore about Mad About You. Anyway, it's Paul Reiser. That's the guy in Detroit is Paul Reiser. He's a very small part. Anyway, we start this movie. We got a montage of Detroit. starting the hard times, apparently, that it has endured for the last 40 years. The Heat Is On is the song. And
the soundtrack is great. Like, this is a really good soundtrack.
My only quibble is we have like 24% too much Axel F. There's just like one or two too many where I'm like, we didn't need it here as well. I was like, look, it's a good synthy banger. If you got it, you use it, right? You smoke them if you got it.
They paid for it. They were like, look.
Yeah.
We don't.
Well, I think it was written for this movie.
Yeah, they paid for it. They paid a person to do that. But like, if you use too much of like Neutron Dance, then they're gonna charge you more. You bought us an original song.
You own it.
You own it. Just stick it in wherever.
There's just like 3 different scene transitions where it's like, and I'm like, okay, guys, like we don't need like all of.
Did they do? Did they?
You're about to make the same joke.
Did they epicify the song for the trailer for the new one?
I think they did it, but not in the like haunting ghost child way. I think it was just
the epic version. I prefer the epic version than the haunting version for a trailer.
I think this was like I don't remember it exactly, but like imagine a teaser trailer in which he's got on like the Detroit Lions jacket, and you see the jacket, and it's like, doop,
or he holds up the Phys Ed T-shirt.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing. It's like you see the Detroit jacket, and then you see something else that's very Axel Foley, and it's like hitting the notes singly, and then like a big thing at the end. So I think that's what I remember, but
that feels right. Yeah, more in the epic side than the spooky side.
It was not a haunting ghost child rendition.
It
wasn't played on a xylophone found in an abandoned child torture factory
or with a theremin. Like,
yeah,
no, I don't like that. But there is a band or a group. I think they're German. It's Zwei, but it's 2WEI, and they do a lot of like epic versions of things that have been featured in trailers. Like when the Tomb Raider movie came out like 10 years ago, whenever the hell that one came out.
Oh, sure. The Vikander one?
Yeah, the Vikander one. They used an epic version of Destiny's Child Survivor. It's very fun.
Oh, okay. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt is also in the new one.
I think he is. I did see that on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Dr. Owens is Paul Reiser's name on Stranger Things. Debs.
Okay.
It's just all the pictures are him in like a lab coat or touching a phone. You know. He's.
Did it say what season he's in? Like, is he?
Dr. Owens. He. Did you watch season 4?
I watched all the seasons that have come out.
He gets like handcuffed to a pipe at the end of season 4 as the big showdown is happening with the other.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know who. Yes is yes.
I was like, you definitely know who this guy is. There's just no way. Anyway, so we're doing this cigarette deal. Eddie Murphy's got a box truck, or I guess it's a double box truck we see later, like a 18-wheeler type vehicle, full of stolen cigarettes, or what he's alleging are stolen cigarettes, and he's trying to sell them to these very, like, pretty good mafia goon hires.
Oh, yeah.
As a person who's often critical of the mafia goon hire.
They would ask if they were haha funny.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going back and forth on this deal. He's trying to get $5,000 out of them. They're only offering $2,000. And then I love the shot of we see a cop car roll by the alley,
yep.
Stop, reverse, and then turn down the alley. And they come down, and the criminal guys who are trying to buy the cigarettes from him take off running, and the guy who's in the driver's seat starts the truck, and so the truck starts moving. And it's very funny to me here because I was like, well, is he going to be like, I'm a cop, you idiots? No, he's not going to use that card yet. Okay. So we get an excellent chase sequence.
It's very much like the beginning of a video game. Like, yes. It feels like this could be the beginning of an Uncharted type.
Sure.
Or like a playable montage in a what's the Far Cry?
Sure. Yeah. Where it's like a quick time game. Basically.
Or it's just giving you like tutorials of like you're like driving through the square, meeting people that the game's gonna feature.
Yeah.
Doing slow zoom, like slow down, crash zoom, speed up time.
We get like 2 car explosions. We get like a dozen cars crunched and crumpled.
It's great. A lot of chaos.
And Also, my favorite shot is one of the cars that gets hit is like a fruit stand. So there's just watermelons everywhere. And it's like just a great, like, who doesn't want to see a bunch of watermelons fly into the air and splat on the street? I don't want them to get wasted in front of me. That's sad.
Yeah.
If it gets wasted on screen, it looks fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a great shot, though. There's a very prominent chain that's like sort of in the back. I'm guessing is like
it's like a screen door essentially. So
Yeah,
I think I think it has a track at the top, so they pull it so that things don't fall out.
Yeah, and also so that when you open the door, stuff doesn't just like cascade onto you. It's like a safety for that, I'm guessing as well.
Yeah.
But it's very prominent in the thing, and then as the car starts moving, it's like, oh, he's clearly going to grab onto this chain. What's the move here? And then we see what's happening, and it's just like the pure chaos of a man swinging on this chain, hitting the outside of the truck and going back in. I watched the scene 3 times, and I'm not sure if it was a dummy or a stunt person.
Well, I think because I feel like you could easily get like white mats, like white wrestling mats stuck to the outside.
Yeah.
So that way, like there's some cushion there.
Yeah, and you could also probably film it at slow enough speed and then speed it up that they would like be pushing themselves. And
oh yeah. That's true.
Like, hit it and come back. But if it is a dummy, it's the best dummy I've ever seen in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a stunt person, hell yeah, man! Like what a crazy cool thing they did because it looks very 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 legitimately real.
Where's their award?
Yeah, I literally wrote down as this sequence is happening, this chase fucking rules.
Mm-hmm.
I was so into this movie so quickly, and I will say though, I did have the problem with this movie, so I hope that you were better than me. I just started watching the movie.
Oh yeah. I took significantly less notes than I normally do because I was just like watching.
2 or 3 scenes go by and I'm like, oh shit. So I apologize for less specifics than perhaps usual, but you've all seen this movie, I'm guessing, and if you haven't, I'll give you the recommendation right now. Go watch it.
It's on Netflix.
It's on
very
Netflix
easily.
and on Paramount Plus if you've got that.
Oh yeah.
Wait, do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, I might need to mooch that off you to watch this new one.
Well, it's my boyfriend's Netflix. He pays for Netflix. I pay for Hulu.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to see if we can work out a trade. It is Paul Reiser here because I wrote Paul Reiser exclamation point, but he's barely in the movie.
Yeah.
He gets a big chewing out. This is like such. I was just having this conversation with my wife about how I feel like there's a big problem right now with horror movies where some young filmmakers are like making a movie that you watch the trailer and you feel like you know the beats of it, and instead of like playing within those beats and coming up with something cool, they do this like subversion thing where it's like, oh no, actually this movie is about trauma and there's not any like there's nothing going on.
Leave that to A24, y'all. A24's got like the lock on that.
We just watched this one where like the trailer made this woman had been like kidnapped, and then her husband took her to this like old cabin that his family had, and then like it made it seem like, oh, maybe the husband did it with his cousin to try to get her life insurance policy. And I'm like, okay, this seems like a fun movie, and we're like let's watch this movie. And then as we're watching it, it's like, oh no, like it's never going to answer any of the questions about what's going on. It never tells you if this person is having like delusions and is crazy and is and like the whole time. And I was just like, just make a movie about the husband and the cousin having her kidnapped. That's like very easy. So this is a perfect example of like,
you have to tell me that name off air, unless you want to tell it here. I don't care. I don't know.
It's called like, I think it's called Something Quiet. I genuinely don't remember the title. It's not me. It's like a Hulu orig.
Recent, like the last 5 years.
Oh, like it came on Hulu like a week ago.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like it was like a new to the service thing, and I was like, oh, okay, I could take a peek at that bad boy. Let's see what's going on there. But yeah, it was hot trash, hot garbage. Somewhere Quiet, not Something Quiet.
Somewhere Quiet. Okay. But I mean, I do like when movies do the subversion thing, like that movie about an Airbnb.
Are you talking about the crazy one with the basement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that one's great. Like you think it's going to be about like a creepy Airbnb, but then it's like, oh, but wait.
But I would argue that movie is still like logically about a thing. Like
yeah, no, it is.
That movie, it like the twist in that movie isn't like, is she crazy or is she making this all up or I don't know, is she just staying at a bad house? I don't know. Okay, and the movie's over. Bye.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah. But I bring that up because I'm like, how many action movies have you seen that start with like a big action sequence and we cut to the police chief or whatever the officer is in the case of the movie going, God damn it, Axel, you put your badge on my desk. And like in Last Action Hero, they do this. The way they elevate this is they literally have steam come out of the guy's ears while he's yelling. Like,
I think he even rises in the air.
Yeah, it's like I've seen this sequence before, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen 25 real good versions of it, and this is one of them where it's like
this guy was a real cop.
Good. Oh, is that right? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
he didn't act outside of these movies.
Wow. Maybe was he like the consultant guy or something?
I don't know. I didn't. I like half remember what I read. So here goes. But he like was a cop. He was like, this is very slow and boring. Switched gears within the department and became like a homicide detective, and like was very prolific in his career. And ended up doing this, and like people wanted him for other things, and he was like, "No, I'll just do these movies. It's just these things."
Interesting. He's good.
He is.
Really is good.
And then he passed away in 2016, and then I don't know if it was right before or right after. Someone alleged that he was offered. A famous hitman was alleged that this guy offered him money to kill someone to keep news of Detroit cop corruption from breaking.
Oh.
Again, who knows? It's a lot of he said, she said, pointing finger. Well, he said, he said.
Yeah.
It's a boys' club. A lot of pointing fingers and he said, but
Hitmen, generally speaking, seems to be a boys' club.
well, I meant it's a police department.
I know what
yeah,
you
it
meant.
was.
I was just doing a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you meant. I'm just saying, I've seen John Wick. It's mostly a boys' club.
Yeah, well, there's the one girl. Oh, there's two. There was two. There's Ruby Rose in the second one.
There are always women in the boys' club so that they don't get called a boys' club. That is how it works.
I do want to see
like a token member.
more like walk through the lobby and there's like an old lady knitting in a Constantine. Or no, not Constantine, Continental.
Didn't you get to the one John Wick where at the end it turns out basically everyone's an assassin and he's like everybody he walks by on the street is trying to kill him?
That was the second one does do that, but then at the very end, the guy
there is 100% an old lady who pulls a gun out of a handbag in one of those John Wicks. I swear.
I have not seen that one yet. I saw a violinist and a homeless man, and
maybe that's what I'm thinking of, and I got confused that there's only. I would swear to you that there's an old lady who's like, you said knitting, and in my head that's what I remembered. Like she's knitting, and John Wick walks by, and then she pulls a pistol out.
I mean, you might also be thinking of the climax of Hot Fuzz. In which old ladies pull guns out of baskets.
As I've said multiple times, it's just a bunch of loose wires up there. Sometimes the connections are good, sometimes they're not.
Yeah, but that's what I want to see as you walk through the lobby of Continental in every John Wick media. I want to see weirder people in that lobby.
Yeah, I'm with you. But this is where I just start. Frankly, more power to the guy that he's not an actor and he holds his own with Eddie Murphy here, who is like really bringing a lot and also like is very, very funny. And this guy is not laughing at the very funny stuff he says. Maybe they had to do 100 takes. I don't know, but it works really well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he is just so smooth. Like there's a way in which this kind of ad-libby feeling dialogue can get a little bit tiresome, and I don't mean to be shitty. I liked a lot of them, but like some of the later Apatow movies kind of have this problem of like it's just like too much of the thing, and somebody should have called cut a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
these Eddie Murphy ones, it's like every time he makes his little witty asides, it works, and it's such an archetype that got ripped off over the years, and like half the people who in the world who play Dungeons and Dragons are playing this kind of character.
Yeah,
not necessarily not one of the hosts of this call either, but like, man, is he just electric. He's so good in this movie. Yeah, he's amazing.
Very, very good. So did he go from stand-up to acting, or did he do acting and then stand-up? Like, was it like a same-timey thing?
I think stand-up led to SNL.
Okay.
And then I think he continued doing stand-up because I think Delirious is during SNL, which is the really big.
Is it the Red Jacket one?
So there's Raw and Delirious.
Raw is the Red Jacket one, I think.
Okay. I was going to say one is a Red Jacket, and I think one is a Black Jacket, and Delirious is the Red Jacket, actually.
Oh, okay.
And that's 83, so that's the year before this. So that's simultaneous with SNL.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard to like fathom the person being such a big star that they can hit in multiple spots, right? Like it's hard. It would be probably true that Taylor Swift is a bigger star, or in the realm of as big a star as Eddie Murphy was.
Yeah, I would say that
right now. Like that she's probably a pretty good analog, but Taylor Swift isn't like crushing it on movies, crushing it on TV.
No, she's acted in like 3 things, and they've all been not
she's
great
fine.
received.
Yeah, she's fine.
I don't think she was in Valentine's Day, Cats, and
her SNL episode was kind of funny. I thought that she did a good job of that.
TV shows she does well with, because she did a cameo in a New Girl episode too.
Okay.
And then everyone thought she wrote that weird Argyle movie.
No, the Argyle thing was the director's wife.
No, but everyone thought it was written by her. The novel it's based on, everyone thought the novel was written by secretly written by Taylor Swift.
That must be a Swiftie thing, because everything I read was very clear that it was it Matthew Vaughn, the kick-ass guy? It was his wife, and for some reason they were like trying to hide it, is what I read over and over.
I don't know, but yeah, it came out on like...
This feels like something that the Swifties manifested, that they like made this up and then made it a rumor that people were buying into.
No, they thought it was a thing, and so it became this rumor because the book...
What I'm saying is like, this is in my head how this went down. Book is coming out, marketing campaign is, ooh, mystery author. Swifties, it must be Taylor. And then the volume of Swifties turned that from weird single thought of one person on Reddit or Twitter or Tumblr or wherever they
that's all rumors. That's all what all rumors are.
I'm just saying it is like anything that they can put their little Swiftie hooks into.
I think it came out on like the 13th day of a month, and she does 13 a lot. And it was like...
Yeah, those people are fucking nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're just crazy.
She encourages it. She's not like...
Of course she does. Yeah.
She's also a crazy person with the things hidden in her... Literally, in the coding of her... The code of her website had Easter eggs in it.
Yeah.
That when people
I know.
stripped it out, they were like, oh, it's an anagram of red herring. So like, oh boy, this is fun. But it like... She said something... I think she said something in like the liner notes of an album that referenced what could be the Argyle, and it came out on the 13th, and she wasn't working on any music at the time, so everyone just immediately assumed that the Swifties pushed this book to like a bestseller.
What the thing that I was just trying to push back you on is like, I don't think everyone thought this. I think the Swifties thought this.
Well,
and
I feel like the Swifties are a large portion of the world's population.
Right.
When countries' presidents are saying, "Dear Taylor Swift, please bring your concert to our country," I feel like it's a good thing to say that a majority of the world population is a Swiftie. Yeah.
I think a majority of the world population is like neutral to plus on Taylor Swift. I think a small subset of terminally online weirdos are Swifties, and those are the people who are doing what you're describing.
Yeah.
Anyway. She's fine. Her music's fine.
I perform it a lot.
Good.
She's become a weird random go-to of mine. Like, oh, I'll do this song.
The opening shot of her special on Disney Plus is very cool. And then I was like, this is 3 hours long and I don't like this music that much.
Is it the Eras tour or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that how you say that word?
Yeah, Era.
Not Era? I think I just found your Mario.
It might be. Oh, okay. I have one of these. The brick part in front of a fireplace starts with an H.
Hearth?
The what?
The hearth.
Okay. I say hearth, but a good number of people say hearth.
I've never heard hearth. I would be like, what?
A not insignificant number of people say hearth, like earnestly.
All right. Up to you folks. At Dissect the 80s. Hearth rhymes with Darth or hearth rhymes with earth.
Yeah.
Hit us.
Yeah, Era.
Or whatever platform. Yeah.
So Era?
The Era, yeah. The Era's tour.
I mean, I guess I waffle, but it's sort of, I think it's probably like a remnant burned in my brain from like theater school of like the way like talking and like about things. It's the same reason I still inherently just use a liquid U, like a Duke.
Oh yeah, that is an oddball one.
It's been stuck in there forever that I will almost always use a liquid U when the situation allows it.
I've never heard it called that either. So learning things on this podcast. Anyway, his friend is in his apartment. We get
He also wasn't supposed to. He wasn't authorized to do a sting. He was just decided to do one. So like,
Yeah.
that is why everyone's mad at him, because he did his own sting that led to a lot of property damage.
Yeah. I mean, many people's cars were destroyed. A couple of houses got knocked over. It looked great on screen, but yeah, the real cost is high. There's also the great bit with Paul Reiser standing next to him as he's getting chewed out, where he like whispers something to Axel to try to help him out, and then the chief's like, "Shut up, Paul Reiser," and he's like, "This isn't
My locker," and walks away.
And then, well, he doesn't just walk away. He pulls out his phone. Boop 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 boop. Hey, brother, you need to get out of this movie. You're done. Come on, I'm gonna take you 40 years in the future. You could be an Axel F on Netflix. What's a Netflix? Yeah, you find out later.
It's like Blockbuster.
Yeah, they're gonna have this crazy TV show. They're gonna make their own originals. You'll be on one of them too, and people are gonna be like,
Imagine if you had Blockbuster in your home, but free. Well, a monthly payment.
You pay for it, and then you don't have to return it or rewind it or any of that crap. In fact, it's weirdly one of the weirder things of it is that like you go to rewatch something and it starts at the end like you didn't rewind it, even though it doesn't need to be rewound.
And like if I'm on the fucking credits of a movie and I go back like 2 weeks ago, a month ago, I watch this movie and I pull it up again, just start it over. It's the credits.
Sometimes it's like a year later.
Truly, it could be. That's what I mean. It could be whoever long, but like if I'm at the credits, you should know where the credits start.
You'd think they'd be like, oh, this person's finished, so we should restart it. But nope, it's middle of the credits. You get in there and it's like, that's the man in. That's the man in. And you're like, no, I want to see the aliens.
You're like, what the hell?
Oh, that's the longest Uber driver bit I think we've ever done.
It is.
Somebody take a shot for that one. Anyway,
and then Netflix ruined every business in the world by saying the subscription model is the way to go for every fucking thing that you can make.
They did indeed. We get another classic cop movie trope of something seems amiss in my apartment. Let me pull the gun. Oh, it's a friend of mine.
Except he didn't check behind his door.
He didn't check behind his door.
He didn't.
That's true. Although,
Clary Starling would not approve.
He has like the most realistic Detroit cop apartment that I think you could have. It's like a pretty modest set. Normally I feel like cop apartments are silly, and this one is like, yeah, this seems like I
believe it. Yeah.
He runs into this old friend here who's a childhood friend who went to jail for some time and has been paroled or released from jail. And immediately the guy's like, so I got this scheme. And Eddie Murphy's like, hey, I'm a cop now. Like,
he's got the bearer bonds, but the same as money, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Another classic 80s trope, the bearer bond.
Untraceable. I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah.
How is money not traceable?
Yeah. It's like a check made out to
cash.
Cash. Yeah. That's my understanding. They don't. I think honestly, what it was is a way to like move large sums of money symbolically in a pre-electronic transfer world. Is my guess.
Okay.
But we go to the bar. And we're having a good time. We're playing some pool.
I like their little relationship. It's very believable.
In like just a couple of minutes, you get a lot here, and we get a very important thing, which I feel like you and I share, that we have a lot of connection to Beverly Hills Cop through the Clerks cartoon show.
Oh.
Has a Beverly Hills. You don't remember the Judge Reinhold episode?
No.
So the episode, God, this is going to sound like the ramblings of a madman. The episode where Jay and Silent Bob go to have a trial. Do you remember this?
Yes. Okay.
Dante and Randall have a trial. And the jury is all the NBA All-Star team for some reason. I can't remember why.
Because this is the Transformer with the bear, with the Transformer transforms and kills all the people.
Yes. The judge in that episode is Judge Reinhold.
Oh yes. Okay.
And there's like 4 different dream sequences in which Judge Reinhold just daydreams he's having fun with Axel Foley.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
Okay, so in the cartoon, the bit is just the banana in the tailpipe bit, and it's just like, hey, who put this banana in the tailpipe?
Oh, shit. Yes. Okay.
And then it cuts to the two of them, and obviously they didn't get Eddie Murphy for this show, so the way that they did an impression of Eddie Murphy is just someone goes, that very, very special Axel Foley
Yeah, the very fun, goofy laugh.
And the first time it happens here, I had that like movie moment of like the it all rushes in like a bunch of puzzle.
You had the Stranger Things clock, the bwong.
Yes. It was like when you see a puzzle and then you see 5 pieces that fit together, and you're just like.
Is that streaming anywhere, Clerks Animated?
No. Do you not have the DVD anymore?
I do, but I like streaming.
Okay.
Streaming's a lot easier.
But yeah, so there's that one episode that Judge Reinhold, I'm pretty sure he does his own voice as well.
He probably does. He seems like a good sport.
And also, no disrespect intended, but like 2001 Judge Reinhold, probably happy to pick up a paycheck, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
A guy I like, I'm not shitting on Judge Reinhold, just he didn't have a lot of work then. There's actually a very funny moment in the Axel F trailer where he like very reverently is like, I really missed you, Axel. And it's like, anyway, it all ties into the daydreams of that thing, but just like, banana in the tailpipe. So we get the first, laugh. We get the friend kind of explaining the scheme, and Eddie Murphy, not really want to be a part of it. But we get this nice moment as they've been drinking here. He's like, hey man, you went to jail or prison for a long time protecting me. Why didn't you do that? And he was like, well, I mean, I love you, man. I wouldn't do that to you. And it's just like such a nice little moment of this. Which is particularly brutal because it builds into this really tough scene.
Ben Wyatt's dad.
The other guy is Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad.
No, that's Ben Wyatt's dad.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, okay, but with hair here.
Yeah.
He's a ruthless, cold-blooded killer who hits Eddie in the head with a gun.
I thought he was gonna go as they're walking, and he's doing the like, if you ever come back to Beverly Hills, we're gonna get you. You stay safe, okay? Yeah. They walk by one of those like break glass in case of emergency things for a fire. I don't know. Axe maybe, and it was so shiny and so prominent in the shot. I was like, he's going through that. He's gonna smash right into that thing. Yeah, and then he didn't, and I was like, oh, yeah,
I totally missed.
Someone has to go through this.
Well, don't you worry. We get some good glass breaking in a few moments here. But it's a brutal scene. They just execute this guy. They knock him to the floor, shoot him twice in the back of the head. Really, really tough. So we cut to immediately after the cops are all there. Eddie's like dabbing the back of his head with a little towel because he's bleeding. And the boss is basically like, you need to go to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital. And Eddie Murphy wants to be put on this case because he doesn't think the guy who is put on it can handle it.
I mean, to be fair, it sounds like they gave it to a Hitchcock and Scully.
Oh, they absolutely did. Yeah, the guy's been on the desk for 12 years. Like, this is very clearly like, we just want this to go away, or we don't care about this. And so Eddie Murphy is like, you know what? I've got vacation time coming to me. I'm going to take it. I'm taking all my vacation time. I'm going. Which is also funny. I feel like that is a phrase I hear all the time in movies. I've got some vacation time coming to me. And I mean, maybe jobs operated differently, but I've never worked at a job in which you got like a big chunk all at once. Like you earned it in
maybe he didn't say coming to me. Maybe he's like, I've got some to use up.
He definitely said coming to me because I wrote this down because this was a point of thing I wanted to bring up with you because that phrase I feel like pops up in movies a lot, and I just have never. Maybe there are folks out there who like earn a week every half year or something like that. I don't know how that works.
As like a bonus, maybe, yeah.
Or it's like, we instead of you earning 5 hours every so often, you earn just 5 days at X marker point. But whatever, that's a movie trope thing that I thought was interesting. But the boss is basically like, if you do any investigating while you're done, you're never going to work again. It'll be the longest vacation ever. And he's like, yeah, okay. And you're like, it basically turns to the audience
wink.
And is like, wink. Yeah. So we smash cut. We get this same kind of montage of Detroit, but now it's Rodeo Drive and all the
Beverly Hills Hotel, which is just so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I love the juxtaposition they do. It's like really good filmmaking technique of, making LA and Detroit feel like such totally opposite places.
Especially because knowing Hollywood, they could have filmed these sequences like, I don't know, 2 blocks apart.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. I also particularly like the moment in which the guy in the all red leather outfit and the
all black inverse, the palette swap.
That's what I wanted. Yeah. And Eddie like is shaking his head at him, but I'm pretty sure the red one is basically Raw, and I think the other one.
Yeah, I was like, I think those are just his outfits.
Yeah. But that stuff works really well. We go to the hotel, and I love this like indignant but wrong bit to try to get what he needs.
Yeah, scam and scheme your way into it.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm with Rolling Stone. I got this interview with Michael Jackson, yada, yada, yada. And they put him in a suite, but they charge him the regular room rate, which is $235 a night, which today is $712.
Wow. I mean, it's probably about 700 feels like about right for a bougie ass Beverly Hills hotel.
No, I didn't think it was wrong. It was just like, it was one of those ones where it's like, oh, what does that number translate? And it's just like, oh, it's triple.
Well,
it's truly triple.
Because the rich need to get richer. How will the CEOs buy more yachts? If you take a bathroom break, how will I buy another yacht?
And inflation. But yes, they're both there.
But inflation is directly correlated by the people who have the money.
Not wrong. So he starts investigating. He goes to visit his old friend who, the guy who got killed, I do not remember his name.
Mikey.
Mikey was like, our old pal.
Jenny.
She's running this art gallery. Jenny, thank you. I just spoke to her, so that Eddie goes to talk to her, and this is where we meet Serge, and it's truly just this one scene with Bronson Pinchot, but he's
in two. He has a mini one much later.
You're right. He
has like two lines a lot later.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, it's very Beetlejuicy looking, the art pieces, but I kind of like them. Like,
I wouldn't want them in a home.
No, but I would totally go to like a modern art museum.
Yeah, I would look at these and go like, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's
like
fun.
In an appreciative way. Yeah.
Yeah.
This scene with him and Bronson is just another bit of just Eddie popping off the screen, just like pure electricity. Bronson Pinchot, great in this one sequence too, just like hanging in there, bringing a lot to the table. And my memory of this character was a lot more like Hollywood Montrose from Mannequin, and I was so delighted that he was just like a weird.
He's definitely a
guy.
wink to coded.
Yeah,
he's not as strongly coded, but he's a wink.
Yeah. But it's mostly just like this odd foreign accent, and not making it he's from X means it could be as
you know what he is?
He's
the guy who runs. He's Mr. Chagall from Death Becomes Her, the guy who runs the spa with the weird eye.
Yeah.
That's just like sort of a vaguely European accent, but doesn't really land anywhere. But like he's just a funny weirdo.
Yeah, and I just like it works for me when it's like I don't need you to make fun of a specific country. I can just you could just kind of go, this guy's like kind of an odd European guy, and give him a funny voice, and it's like cool. I don't need you to make fun of a country. I can do this archetype. It works just fine. He specifically offers an espresso with a lemon twist that he makes himself, which I've never had before.
I've never had lemon like I've had a lot of flavored coffees. I've never had a lemon coffee.
I feel like a particularly bitter espresso, the lemon twist in there might be like just the rind, not the lemon.
If you just express the oils.
Yeah, you just get that little bit of like cutting the bitterness. That might be nice. I don't know. I like an espresso to be bitter. I don't have any problem with it. So
yeah, I have no problem with that.
So we talk with the artist friend. We get kind of a quick rundown about what was going with Mikey. They don't really have a lot. She doesn't really know too much about it, but she's like, he was definitely into some shady shit.
But my boss hired him as a favor to me, and like, hearing that, I was like, Eddie Murphy, you should have just said, okay, tell him to hire me to replace him. Like that's how you get all the shit. Yeah. That's how you get all the information.
Yeah. I think that does make sense. The problem is like that's a little bit slow because he needs to talk with him, and his low-level employee is not necessarily getting to do that.
But he never talks to Victor Mayfield. He like never talks to him.
Is the Chewbacca guy.
What?
Peter Mayhew is the Chewbacca guy.
Oh. Like, but he never has a conversation with Victor that's like learning things. Every conversation he has is like, I know what you did, and I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna arrest. Like, nothing about what his interactions with Victor are like doing detective-y work. It's all to threaten, which like I get. I love it. But like, if you want to solve this murder, that's the best way to go about it. Oh, have him hire me next.
Yeah, no, I think the problem with that is, like I said, it's like I don't know that Mikey interacted with him at all.
So Mikey clearly knew they were bearer bonds. He clearly knew the illegal shit.
Yeah, some of it for sure.
Do your police job. Get the evidence and hand it in. Bing bang boom.
So he like, is that a thing that he would like get hired and then be the whistleblower? That's very interesting to me.
What do you mean? Why not?
No, I'm not. I mean, I don't know if there are rules against such thing, but it would be interesting if like the undercover work was like just getting a job so that you could glean the information and then be the whistleblower.
Yeah, cool. Because it's not his jurisdiction. He's not there under any official capacity. So him getting a part-time job on a little vacation.
Yeah, no, he definitely could not do any arresting and has no authority to do any of what he's doing. He just is deciding to do it.
Because instead he like kicks open the door and like hands over all his cards. Like no lies, no subterfuge, like even gives his real name. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I I literally did this once playing D&D, and I just like said all the information, and the two people I was with were like, "You just said all of the thing. Like, we have nothing left now." Like, and it was like, "Well, hopefully it works. Let me roll the dice, see if I convinced him." As always, Axel thinks he's going to roll a natural 20, and instead he does not. But I really liked the bit where he came in with the flowers and was like, "Oh, these are for Mr. Mayfair." And the lady's like, "All right, well, leave them here." And he's like, "No, I'm flowers are my life. I got to deliver this myself." And the woman she's really very clearly saying the words that are supposed to stop him, but she has no urgency in it. It's basically like Gene Wilder in
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka going like, "No, stop, don't."
Oh, but here's the thing: if you're a secretary in Beverly Hills, you are an actress or a model or a singer and this is your day job. So the sooner that this man isn't in front of you, the sooner you don't have to do your job anymore. So
I think you're right. However, if your boss is a criminal, you probably know that, right?
Maybe the secretary doesn't know that.
Okay.
Like, I don't think, like
I have to think she's afraid of this guy, Mr. Mayfair.
She probably is because she's seen his face. Like, she's talked to him and seen his face.
Yeah.
But I don't know that she's, like, criminal scared of him. Like, the people that work for, like, the Bond villains in their, like, shell companies who, like, are just, Tom in HR and Jill from accounting. Like, they probably don't know it's a criminal thing.
Interesting. I would be curious. I feel like different people play with that differently. I've read stuff where they do know and read stuff where they don't. So not necessarily Bond books, but that is interesting to think about. It's like the conversation in Clerks about the Death Star of like the people building the second Death Star. Are they
exactly?
But the rebuttal in Clerks is the guy's like, "I got offered a job working for this mafia guy. I know who he was. I didn't take the job. Buddy of mine did. Drive-by shooting happens. He's dead."
Oh yeah. There you go.
Anyway, what this ends up happening is, as you said, he costs Victor up in his office. Victor hits a secret button. 6 dudes show up, grab Eddie Murphy by the arms and legs.
Lift him.
They carry him down to the lobby, and they approach the door and then go, "Nah, we're going to throw him through the plate glass window instead."
So wild.
It's incredible. It's like something out of a Wild West stunt show.
Very funny, but like...
Window. Yeah.
I think this movie, it plays real well with the comedy, that like it's not super consistently action and it's not super consistently comedy. Like it kind of blends them well. So when this happens, you're like, it doesn't feel out of left field.
Right. And I love the, so these cops show up to arrest him, and he has just like, from the minute they show up, he's like, "Oh, thank God you're here. They just threw me out a window." And they're like, yeah, right, buddy. Put your hands on the car. And he gets arrested. And the entire time he's just doing a running commentary. I'm like, what on earth? Like, what is the crime I've committed? And they're like disturbing the peace. And he's like, "We're getting thrown out a window." Like, it's so good.
Yeah. Apparently, so this, allegedly this movie was dreamed up by Michael Eisner.
Yes.
Because
you remember when we talked about a little bit about this on Cobra too, I imagine. We can get into that after your thing here.
Michael Eisner was like the head of Paramount or whatever.
Paramount, yep.
At the time in the 70s, and he was driving like a clunker. I don't know why, if he was like borrowing someone's car or whatever, but driving a clunker and got pulled over for like a taillight or something. And the cop was so like condescending and dismissive of Michael Eisner.
Interesting.
And he was like, wow, it's like your appearance really does matter. Like, I want to make that movie about cops and like being able to like do all that stuff. And I was like, that's fascinating.
So the movie Cobra, previous episode, I think on the main feed, it may be in the early
Is Cobra
behind Patreon.
The duo?
Stallone. It's Stallone where he's always chewing a match.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
He wanted to like make this movie with no comedy, and they were like, no, that's not the movie. And so he like took his ball and went home and made Cobra, which is this with no jokes, basically.
Yeah, because he said people wouldn't believe I was a fish out of water in Beverly Hills, which like valid. That's a fair. I'm glad you're self-aware enough for that, Sly.
You don't think so? He doesn't have the Hollywood vibe to me. He doesn't have the sexy vibe.
In 1984, wasn't he like a hunka?
I guess
he did
like
porn, right?
Rocky, very believably. No, he did. He was an extra in a porn. He didn't do porn. That is an important distinction.
He didn't do the sex part. He just was there.
He like many struggling actors took a job to make $50, and he was standing in the back of a porn. But he is not in the porn. You know?
He's not doing the acts.
He is in the porn. He's not in the porn.
Yeah. And he said comedy wasn't his strong suit. And I was like, yeah, no shit, it's not your strong suit.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't string 4 words together.
Well, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot is coming to this podcast eventually.
It'll come. It'll get there.
I love the precinct. They walk in and it looks like they just walked onto the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. It is like
that was by design. Apparently, the police department obviously wasn't gonna let them recreate because that's the same reason why YouTubers don't show a complete walkthrough of their own home, because you should not show bad people that information. Yeah. So they were like, all right, we'll make it up. And so they basically just took the Detroit and they were like, what is the opposite vibe of this? And it's like high-tech security, like private security for rich people is what it feels like.
It's one of those genius things, because if you notice it overtly, you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, look how different they are. And if you don't consciously notice it, your brain probably does, and it does the same thing.
It's
just really good.
It's just enough to be noticeable without being annoyingly obvious and ham-fisted.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's just people working at desks, right? Like, they still are doing the same police work. It's just that their equipment's nicer because their budget's higher because they're Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and you don't spend a lot of time in the what'd you call it? The deck?
I call it the Starship Enterprise.
But like, what do you call it? The Brit? Yeah, like they don't spend a lot of time they walk through it a lot, but most of the time you spend in the Beverly Hills Police Department is like in just desks in a room. It's just a nice looking room. It doesn't. Right. This doesn't have any high tech nonsense.
And there's that one brief sequence where like they're on the radio basically with the headsets on and stuff, but that could be around any radio. It's just that this one looks like a computer.
Yeah. Well, and they have GPS in this movie before it existed.
They do. Yeah.
Although low jacks were probably a thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know that we had we certainly didn't have commercial GPS, but I don't know that there may have been GPS used for like ship routing at sea and things like that. I just don't think it was a commercial product.
I just figured low jack, I don't know when low jacks were made, but they were probably in police cars.
Yeah, that kind of thing does make sense to me. Although I obviously don't know the history of low jack, but in my mind that's a '90s thing. But I really don't know.
I just know it was referenced in Casper Meets Wendy, which was the late '90s, I think.
Oh, okay. It was patented in '79.
Okay. So,
and I learned just now that it's the opposite of hijack.
I thought it was location something.
Well, this says maybe it's a backronym, but the guy said it was the opposite of being hijacked because you're low jacked.
Huh. Okay.
Anyway, the boss comes in. He's the lieutenant, and he's Eddie's there with. This is where we meet Judge Reinhold and the great Taggart, who's the three of these guys just work. It's like
they're great.
it's hard to make a 3-person team flow as good as this one does, but it's just such a perfect, like, Eddie Murphy's the wild card, Taggart's the straight man, and Judge Reinhold is the goober.
The ingenue.
Like,
the goofy ingenue.
Yeah. And it's just perfect. Like, it's like they seem, by halfway through this movie when they get on board with Eddie Murphy, they are so in sync with each other. It's like, it feels like these two were friends for years off screen, and it just like the chemistry really crackles. It's great. It's really great. But it starts off very opposite that. Taggart punches Eddie Murphy just straight in the police station, and the lieutenant immediately rushes over and he's like, "Do you want to press charges against Officer Taggart?" And I was like, what the hell is this movie doing? And Eddie Murphy has the exact same reaction I do, where it's just like, he's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, well, he just punched you. He's like, where I come from, cops don't press charges against other cops. And I was like, well, maybe you should.
You probably should, you know.
That's not a good policy, but in this instance, it's okay. It's fine if you choose to shrug it off. And they have this long back and forth, like, what are you doing out here? And he just keeps saying, I'm on vacation.
They had called his boss, who says, you tell Eddie Murphy that if he's investigating Mikey's murder, to not come home.
Yes. And then they're like, all right, well, get him out of here. And Judge Reinhold starts to escort him out. And I thought Eddie Murphy dropped the F-bomb, which I was sad about, but he just says Taggart in the strangest way one could possibly say.
Yeah.
Because I rewound that bad boy a few times too. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I mean, I know he said it all the time in the stand-up, but I was curious if it was going to be in here. And it was just me mishearing Taggart.
Jenny bails him out. And they talk about Victor and get tailed by the cops, by Taggart and Rosewood.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Also, pause there for one moment. I think one of my favorite jokes in the whole movie, and there are many great ones, is the sequence in which Eddie Murphy's in the holding cell and the cop comes to like bring him up to talk to Judge Reinhold and Taggart. And he's like, there's a payphone in there. And he's like, I've never been in a cell with a payphone before. And he's like, well, what am I going to do? Like, what about my pizza? Can we wait for that? And the cop just doesn't answer. And he's like, gestures like, come on. And they start leaving the cell. And he looks back and he's like, nah, somebody will eat it.
Yeah.
It's just such a stupid throwaway joke, but it really got me.
Like, clearly Eddie Murphy and Robin Williams were of the same style of comedy in that, like, just turn the camera on and let them go.
Yeah.
Call cut in like an hour. They'll be fine.
Yeah. As in most things in life, good management is getting out of the way. Being a good director of these guys is like, just get out of the way.
Here's the general path we need you to go on. It's a several lane highway, so pick lanes however you choose, and step on the gas.
Yeah. So he brings his friend Jenny back to his hotel. He shows her the great suite that he has, and they start going back and forth on it. And we get the first of a couple running gags where Eddie sends room service to the cops that are tailing him.
Well, because she also brings up the good point. She's like, "How are you going to pay for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, how is he going to pay for it? Like, he's not a criminal, so he can't just like dash."
Yeah. Well, you deal with these things as they come, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
But he sends them a shrimp salad sandwich, and I forget what the other thing was. Something more ridiculous.
Salmon, dill poached salmon, or lemon poached salmon.
Yeah. And I love Judge Reinhold being like, "Can I get some more mayo for this?"
That'd be me. Like, if you brought me a sandwich, I'm gonna eat the sandwich.
Yeah. And we get a little one scene here from, is it Damon Wayans?
Marlon Sr.
Marlon Wayans. Okay.
Wait.
You never see his face, so you just hear him and see him in profile.
Maybe it is Damon Sr. Because I think Damon Jr. was the one who was in... Yeah, Damon Jr. was the one in Happy Endings, I think.
Yes.
So then it's Damon Sr. Because I think Marlon Wayans was involved in Scary Movie.
It is Damon Wayans.
Okay.
I have confirmed. I thought Damon was also involved in Scary Movie, but I don't remember who... I think
there's two Wayans brothers involved in Scary Movie. I know Marlon's one of them, but I don't remember who the other one was.
The two of them. Well, we're not talking about Scary Movie, so I'm going to move on. But Damon Wayans has a one scene bit as a guy who has
an effeminate fruit man.
A effeminate fruit man who gives him some bananas for free, and then we get the banana in the tailpipe.
It was apparently supposed to be a potato, but the They were like, we don't have time or feel like shooting a sequence of him sneaking into the kitchen to steal a potato. So
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
grab some fruit from Crafty. Put the
Yeah.
Crafty table here, and we'll just shoot that.
It's funny, too, because I feel like the washcloth from the room would have worked as well.
Yeah, because it's you just have to block the exhaust, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, does this still work on modern cars? I couldn't tell you, but that is the idea of just like you block the exhaust, the engine chokes,
No. Well, and now we're designing cars that can't be opened, that are so sharp they cut you, and they die.
Well, that is one particular
Stupid car.
weirdo.
That's the dumbest car I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
truly. And I'm not even a car person.
Did you hear about the fact that if you wash a Cybertruck and don't immediately dry it, like if you let it air dry in the sun, it corrodes the panels?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything about it was the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, it's dumb.
Down to the initial announcement 5 years ago when they broke the bulletproof windshield on stage.
Very dumb. We get the banana in the tailpipe from Clerks cartoon, and Judge and Taggart are stuck as they sneak away to investigate.
They go to Jenny and Axel go to the warehouse and immediately see criminal activity.
Yeah, it's truly like it's not a spark factory, it's a crime factory.
It's a video game cutscene. These NPCs have just been waiting for the main character, for the player character to show up so that they can do their dialogue.
If you zoom in on them with your binoculars from as you approach, they're just standing stock still with their arms at their sides, and then as you approach, they snap into action and they start doing.
Or they've just been repeating the motions with no dialogue until they showed up.
So they find coffee grounds, which he tells her is usually used to cover the smell of drugs. A thing I think people are still doing today, because I've heard of it on forums for people smuggling weed in airports when I was trying to learn about how to sneak my hiking poles through security.
Yeah, I thought the whole, if coffee is strong enough to, dissuade a dog, then,
Yeah.
what about all the coffee shops in the airport?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it actually works, but I just know that I was trying to figure out if I could bring my hiking poles, and it ended up with people telling me how to smuggle weed in the hiking poles, which is not what I wanted.
Are they collapsible, or are they,
Yeah.
they have the string in the middle and they pop apart?
No string. They're just 3 separate pieces. But you are not supposed to be able to bring them in your carry-on.
Okay.
We got a great scene where this lieutenant is chewing out Taggart and Judge Reinhold for getting defeated by a couple pieces from a fruit basket, which is pretty good business.
Yeah.
And I love more of the ingenue, which is a great word for him that you said there. Judge Reinhold, where he's like, he sent you room service? And Judge Reinhold's like,
Late
"Yeah, it was
supper.
it was
sandwich?
a really nice shrimp salad sandwich." And then he realizes what he's doing and just clams up.
Axel and Jenny trail the van to the bonded warehouse where customs checks everything that comes in.
Yes.
He-
and bonded stuff hasn't gone through the customs clearance part yet, basically.
Yes. He sneaks in, and finally we see some actually good subterfuge. I was like,
Yes.
where was this energy back in Victor's office? Where he he pulls a Arnold Schwarzenegger in Jingle All the Way, and he just flashes his badge real quick, and he's like, "I'm from customs. This is the sloppiest operation I've ever seen. Find me your supervisor." And he makes them give him information and just keeps
Yes.
yelling and being I'll have 25 agents here in 15 minutes, and none of you are going to leave for 4 weeks.
Call your wives or your girlfriends and tell them you're not going to be home for supper because I got a lot of stuff. We're starting with this crate right here.
Expect to go home to dead pets.
Goldfish floating in the tank.
That's truly all. Confident, loud, and aggressive are really easy ways to get people off their game.
Another one, hold a clipboard. People trust a guy or a gal with a clipboard.
Clipboard and or high-vis vest.
Yes, yeah. A hard hat throw in there might also help you if you're going to...
Walkie. Don't even talk into it, but have the walkie there.
Yeah. Have a person with you in this operation who can... Hey, are you approaching yet? Because we're really behind back here. And you
there you go.
see, yeah. Meanwhile, Judge Reinhold and Taggart are in the car doing a stakeout of this, and Judge Reinhold starts telling this insane. I don't know how these became like pop culture-y, but like the whole like, oh, undigested food in your body forever thing.
Where do you think that is? Where do you think 40 pounds of undigested food is sitting in your body?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he only says 3, but it's just as ridiculous. And like, I think the 40 is what the Elvis myth was always like. Oh, Elvis had all this undigested food in his body when he died. And it's like,
Did he eat it? Did he eat a 7-course meal in 30 minutes and then immediately kill himself?
I mean, he did die of a heart attack while pooping, so it's not impossible.
Didn't he not actually? Isn't that also?
Is that also fake? Oh, I don't know.
I feel like that's also one of those like urban myths.
All right, let's find.
Or as I used to call them, old wise tale, because I thought that's what I thought it was. I thought it was an old WISE tale, which frankly makes a lot more sense than old wives' tale.
Yeah.
Like whose wife? Whose wife is saying this?
He had a severe cardiac event
While pooping?
He was in the bathroom.
Okay.
People thought that he fell off the toilet during this massive
Fart attack?
infarction. Yeah. More of a bummer when you read that it's real. It's funny, somehow dying on the toilet funny, reading
Reading that it is an actual fact.
Reading dead on the bathroom floor, sad. I don't know how the change happens, but like giggles for dying on the toilet, sad dying. Like,
I mean, when I had my kidney stone the first time, I thought I was dying. I was like, oh, my mom's going to come home and find me dead on the bathroom floor.
I had one that I passed in the middle of the night, and there was a moment where I was like, either this is it, now it's
This is the big one.
or I'm crawling into the bedroom to wake up my wife to drive me to the hospital because
You just smash something in the bathroom to make a noise.
It's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's either right about to happen right now, or I'm going to die. I'm going to faint, and then we'll have to figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I didn't faint. I almost fainted, and it happened. It was over.
I didn't faint. I just was in a bad spot. In a real bad way.
I was, having fainted twice in my life, I was as close to fainting as you could be.
I've never fainted. 2 kidney stones, never fainted.
Yeah, I've had a couple of kidney stones, and I have fainted 2 times. Both times I fainted was reading about penis or testicle trauma, so I just tried to avoid that. Anyway, he fools all. Oh, so he's like the average American man has 3 pounds of undigested red meat in their intestine, and Taggart's like, "Why are you telling me this?" And Judge Reinhold's like, "Well, you eat a lot of red meat. I'm worried about you."
But again, where do you think that is? Like,
Makes no sense.
It goes through your stomach undigested and just hangs out?
That's what they do. I mean, they do think that. They think it's like, or it's like the colonic thing where it's like it just stays in your intestines and bowel and you have to get it.
Like, it's not a toilet flush. Like,
right.
That's not what your stomach is.
Right.
Where all the acid goes away and refills itself. Like, that's not how stomachs work.
Oh, that's very funny.
Which is probably what people think. That it's
some
like,
people probably do.
That's why they think meat goes past it. Like, what do you think? No, you dumbass.
He also tells him he's drinking too much coffee. That's why he's so wired and angry all the time.
Which is fair. Which apparently happened to Eddie Murphy on this movie. He said he didn't drink coffee because he doesn't do drugs. Which I thought Eddie Murphy famously did something.
I thought Eddie
allegedly
Murphy was a booger sugar guy, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. And he drank a little bit of coffee, which I guess if you've never had coffee, a little bit's going to have a big effect on you.
Yeah. I drink coffee fairly rarely. Like, I'm a weekend coffee person. I like it as like a little treat, but I don't drink it every day. And occasionally I'll get some coffee beverage that is just like basically doing speed to me. Like, I will feel my hand shake.
A cold brew? Because that's usually what happens.
It could be a cold. It's like, it depends. Like, it could be a cold brew. It could be like a real big espresso drink. Like, just every once in a while I get something that's just like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, I only drink caffeine on the weekends because I have ADD medication during the week. And if I do them both, my heart will start a car. So I save it for the weekends where I can drink my coconut Dr. Pepper, 0 sugar, or like a coffee drink. It's so good.
I don't think I like the idea. Can you bring me one?
Yeah, I will. Because it's not suntan lotion. It's cream of coconut. It's like there's a creaminess to it and it blends well. But because I was like, I'm gonna buy a case of this and it's gonna taste like suntan lotion, and I was like, that's not what this is at all. It's like
Okay.
very much like you're double fisting a Dr. Pepper and like a pina colada,
Okay.
and you're alternating.
Okay. I don't know that I'm gonna like it, but I am curious.
If you like coconut flavored thing, like a coconut cream coffee or like a coconut patty, if you like actual coconut flavored things, you probably will.
Okay.
All
right.
But yeah, so I do that on the weekend. But there was one time when I like didn't think and I drank like, I don't know, 20 ounces of cold brew.
Oh.
And
yeah.
I was like, well, we have to we're going to our friend's house today. And I was like, all right, I'm actively having a panic attack. So, that's fine. It'll be cool.
I know the exact feeling you're describing. The caffeine thing is interesting. I don't know if it was set off, but my wife and I were like, we had dinner and we were sitting on the couch. She's like, "You're being a little odd. Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm having a panic attack." She's like, "Why?" I was like, "I couldn't tell you. Like, all I'm doing is going, why am I having a panic attack? This is such a strange reaction to be having right now."
And then you're like, "Oh, I drank caffeine late." Like
maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I didn't. It's a good thought. I don't drink much caffeine, so maybe that's something to be aware of.
Yeah, if you over caffeinate or caffeinate at the wrong time, it can
yeah.
really stick a wrench in the wheel.
You're very done. Anyway, Eddie hops in the back seat of their car while they're on the stakeout, and he's like, "Come on, guys, we're going to the strip club."
Well, he says, like, "I'm taking you to a bar," and it's so is a topless bar and a strip club the same thing?
I think so, because like every state has different rules as to what clothes can come off and what kind of alcohol can be.
Well, like it didn't look like these girls were stripping. It looked like they were just like dancing with no top on.
I suppose that could be a distinction. I don't know this well. I've never been.
I always assumed like a strip club was like they're doing the stripping there.
Yeah. But it may be that like they can only get topless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. I will always burn in my brain forever. Senior year of high school, my friend was doing a photo shoot for the play I was in, and she was like, "Yeah, I call this restaurant in Westchester. It's a topless place," and like kept talking, and me and all our friends were like, "Did she just say it's a topless place? Like, what? We're going to a topless place?"
Well,
she meant tapas.
There was a restaurant in Westchester.
Rather, she said tapas. Rather.
Well, there was a restaurant in Westchester that for a time had a lingerie lunch because a real creep at a job I worked at kept trying to get me to go with him, and I was like, thoroughly not in.
What does that mean?
All of the staff wear lingerie.
Ugh.
Like Hooters, but lingerie.
Okay.
And I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. That sounds bad.
They don't want to do that. Like,
I mean, yeah, I probably drew.
Like they didn't. That's probably not their first choice.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine so. Anyway, another great scene of Judge Reinhold being a great rube is when he's like going to tip the dancer, and he's like,
"Excuse me,
Miss, I'd like to put this in your G-string, please." It's such a great little bit of physical acting, and like again, perfect that the ingenue, the rube, whatever. So he's like tipping the dancer. Taggart goes to start doing some investigative work.
No, Eddie Murphy, they're all at the table, and Eddie Murphy notices these two guys come in. He's like, "These guys are shady. We should stop the crime they're going to commit." And I was like, did we miss a scene where Eddie like coordinated it? Like, it's just really hilarious timing.
Yes. Yeah, I thought these were supposed to be goons of the guy. Like maybe they were here to collect like a protection money racket kind of thing, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Or they were also following Eddie Murphy.
Right.
No, it's just a perfectly timed attempted robbery.
He does an incredibly good fake drunk performance to like get up in the one guy's business. And then ends up like pushing the shotgun as he pulls it out, so it hits the ceiling instead. And then he subdues this guy, and Taggart pulls his gun and gets the first guy. And then Judge Reinhold pops up at the end with a gun.
He's there.
Okay.
He's just there.
He gets the gun out eventually. He gets his moment later.
Yeah. So they go back to the station, and the chief is like, "Why were you in a topless bar while on duty outside of your jurisdiction?"
Yeah.
All very good questions.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy immediately starts spinning this yarn of like their heroism and what they did and how they did nothing wrong. And I was like, oh, fun. And then immediately they're both like, no, sir, Eddie Murphy did all this and he deserves the credit for this arrest because he's a good cop. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're left, we're right, we're juking.
Well, this is just the moment of like them being like, okay, we should just all respect each other, right? Like this is the turn for those two characters.
Yeah.
From semi-antagonists who are not sure about this to like, oh no, we should listen to this guy. He's not an idiot. He gets assigned a new tail detail, and he, of course, immediately starts messing with them as well.
Because, like, everyone knows what Eddie Murphy is doing. Like, they all know he is doing illegal detective police work.
He basically says it. Like, he's doing very little to try to hide it.
But he's not outright saying what he's doing. So no one can say, they're like, it looks like you're on a stakeout. And he's like, nope, this is a picnic.
Yeah, I'm having a beer.
And then Victor's car comes out of comes out of his driveway, and he immediately goes, "Well, gotta go sightseeing." Like, because he's not actually saying what he's doing, they cannot accuse him of the thing.
Right. So he goes to visit. I skipped a bit. Our next bit is another Eddie bit of subterfuge with a person who works the front desk. This time it's the concierge at this club, and Eddie starts going on and on about how he has herpes.
And not a great, gay stereotype performance.
But the line of things are just falling off down there
is a good one.
I 100% about the gay thing. You're correct, but that one line really did crack me up. Of like, things are just falling off the man.
Because the guy's like, oh, if you give me the message, I'll give it to Victor. And so he's like, he clearly is like, well, I gotta say something that he won't possibly say. He will 100% make me go do it. So he goes in. Ben Wyatt's dad approaches him, and he flips him through the buffet table.
Yeah.
And then has a seat.
Waste of a perfectly good carbon prime rib.
Yeah, and I think shrimp. I think a lot of shrimp too.
Many shrimp.
So they have a conversation, which again is just Eddie Murphy being like, "You're a criminal, and I'm gonna kill you."
Accusing. Cut to the bad guy goes to visit Jenny, and he starts being like, "Who's this guy? What's he doing?" She won't give up.
Oh well, before that, the chief the lieutenant rather is like, because Foley gets arrested at the club, and they have to take him back to the police. And he's like, the guy's like, look, what's going on? Like, be straight with me. And Eddie Murphy's like, here's all the car. He starts to tell what he's doing. And I'm so broken from movies. I was like, don't trust him. He's on payroll.
Yeah. Same.
But no, the chief probably was on payroll. Because as Eddie Murphy is telling all of this and they're all like getting on board with it, this old man walks in angry. And I was like, oh, that's the chief. And he's like, you get him out of town. And I was like, oh, so he's on payroll.
Yeah, I kept calling the lieutenant the chief as well. And then the actual chief rolls in and it's like, no, I had the exact same thing you did.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm Brooklyn Nine-Nining it, where I'm like, the guy in the office there is the chief.
You're right. Yeah, of course.
Because I don't think there was a lieutenant in 9-9. I think it was Sergeant Jeffords.
Isn't Jake a lieutenant?
I thought he was a detective.
He's lieutenant. Yes, both things are.
I thought he was detective. Oh, wait, you can be both?
Detective is a title, lieutenant is a rank.
Oh, so you can be detective lieutenant or lieutenant detective?
I think it's the first thing you said.
Huh.
Detective sergeant, detective private, whatever. I think that is how it works. Detective just means that you conduct certain types of investigations.
Yeah.
The bad guy goes to visit Jane, as I was saying, and she won't give up. Jenny. And she won't give up any information on Axel, so she basically gets kidnapped, although I'm not sure we see her get kidnapped.
No, she doesn't get kidnapped.
Well, at the end, he has a gun to her head.
Yeah, because she gets picked up from the warehouse.
Oh, that's right. Okay, all right. I was watching the movie, not taking the best notes.
So basically, I didn't realize this at the time. Eddie Murphy says this now, as he was talking to the lieutenant, that like basically these shipments are coming in to the customs building. Maitland's guys are. That's what it is. It's Maitland. It's not Mayfair. It's Maitland.
You're right. Maitland. Yeah, you're right.
100%.
I got that wrong. Yeah.
Oops. We might want to drop in the very beginning that like
Delete the tweets.
We get it wrong at first, but we get there.
Delete the tweets.
So Maitland's guys are going in, taking things out of the warehouse, taking anything illegal out, and then putting them back. So Customs is never even aware that things were, going on.
So Axel convinces Judge Reinhold to let him do some shady detective stuff because the other big thing is like he's basically like whatever it takes to get the job done, I'll do. And the Beverly Hills folks are like, no, we do things by the book around here. And I'm not sure I love the message of the movie being that we should do things a little more loosey-goosey, but it works very well in the context of this film.
In this specific universe. Yeah.
Because like, yeah, if you bent the rules to catch a drug dealer, I don't know that it's the end of the world for me. But the problem is it's a slippery slope situation.
Yeah, where does it end?
Yeah. But he lets him break the law. Basically,
They go get Jenny. They go to the warehouse. They find cocaine in a thing, and he tastes it because, of course, he does.
Yes. Also, it's a rare large amount of cocaine in a movie that's not the like formed.
Yeah, it's not a duct tape brick.
Right. It's like normally it's like the bag of sugar or flour before you open it, and then you open it and it's a loosey and it's a loose bag of powder, which is what we have here.
Also, they get caught. Like some guy comes out with a gun and holds it. Eddie Murphy is holding a bag of cocaine with a hole in it, and the guy's got a gun to his head. And I was like, just pull a Harley Quinn and puff the cocaine right in his face. Just
yeah. That would be pretty funny if he just like squeezed it out of the bag, like
do it like a powdered sugar.
Yeah.
And it's not. It would. I probably. Although these guys are probably all on cocaine.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that it's gonna have as much.
I don't know what the effect would be. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
It certainly wouldn't be the spinach that it is to Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey. I do love that moment.
Yeah. Judge Reinhold sees this whole thing go down. Like
he takes too long. I'm sorry. He sees shady people go in.
Yeah.
And he's just like hemming and hawing in his. It's like they must have put the camera and been like, roll it for 20 minutes and be like, just hem and haw and physicalize that you're anxious about this.
I think the issue is like he doesn't know what to do here because he's breaking like the Axel is breaking.
But if you have probable cause,
right? But it would get thrown out because Axel went in illegally.
But Axel's not a cop.
Well, I guess that's true. I don't know how that would work. It's a good point because like. There must be some sort of extension of that because like otherwise cops would just get non-cops to do shit like this all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm betting because it's like, it's not like, oh, we're from Beverly Hills, you're from Los Angeles. It's like, he's from Detroit, Michigan, like nowhere in jurisdiction.
Right. But I'm saying like, if that was true, couldn't the cops just like pay some jamoke $40 to go like blunder into the warehouse and get in trouble so they have probable cause to intervene?
Yeah, I guess. Or
there must be some sort of regulation.
Because I guess technically Eddie Murphy could have been like, I'm going to go in, you're going to see someone breaking into the warehouse, and you're going to follow. Mm. I guess that could have been the case.
Yeah. So Judge gets Taggart, and they start to like do more investigating. Trying to figure out, what did I skip?
Everything. So Reinhold's hemming and hawing. He sees them take Jenny away.
Okay.
And then he goes into the warehouse where they're like beating up Eddie Murphy, a couple guys, and they have a shootout. Right. And then they drive away, and Judge Reinhold gets on his radio, and he radios the Starship Enterprise, and he's like, tell Taggart to go to this address.
Sitting on top of the radio. Right,
and I'll deal with it later. Yes. And Taggart's like, I'm right here. What the hell are you doing? And he's like, can't talk about it. Don't tell the chief, or don't tell the lieutenant. Gotta go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
So then he gives the warehouse location to the two jamokes that were the second unit tailing Eddie Murphy, and he goes, I'm going to follow the car. And so he goes there while Eddie Murphy's trying to break in with a lockpick.
Yes.
And now they're all on the same team.
Okay, so Eddie goes in one way, Taggart and Judge try to hop this fence, and it's just like a perfect...
I love this stupid, like, bumbling comedic pair moment.
Yeah, where it's like lace the hands together and hoist them up. It's very funny to me that Taggart, the clearly heavier of the two, is the one getting boosted.
Yeah. Well, he's the senior.
Yeah. But also, it'll be funnier when he has to flop over a fence like like me getting out of a swimming pool. Really good physical bit of business there. And then like the second they're both over the fence, it's just like of a machine gun rattle. So they're like, it's Taggart and Eddie who are hiding like in this little alcove. Eddie pops up.
They're like almost John Wick level good at aiming.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. Yeah, they each have a 6-shooter. Maybe one of them has like a regular pistol and not a revolver. But it's just like pop up, dead guy, dead guy, dead guy, pop back down, reload, dead guy, dead guy, dead guy, reload. It's very silly.
The lieutenant is finally on board.
I will say, not enough squib action here. A lot of people getting
certainly
shot,
not.
Not enough squibs. Yeah.
Certainly not. But Lieutenant Bogomil is finally on board, and he's like, send all units to this location, tell them there's an undercover cop in danger, and they're like, what? And he's like, just do it.
Meanwhile, the bad guys are all reject stormtroopers because they cannot hit anything with the machine gun. Me playing a first-person shooter in 2024.
Ben Wyatt's dad has like a final showdown with Eddie Murphy.
That one's pretty good. There's some good squib there for him.
The ending moment is so stupid. Like the camera is catching Ben Wyatt's dad in profile with his gun, and it's tracking him. And then we see Eddie Murphy in the background in a door frame aiming his gun at him. And rather than just like shooting him right away, he waits until he like, there's someone here. Turn and look and then shoot. Well, and I was like,
I think
buddy,
that's probably the correct move though, because like if you're trying to kill the guy, you want his body facing you. You know, it's like Fallout when they're you go into
in vats.
Yeah, they're on the side. It's like a 50, and when they turn their chest towards you, it goes up to 70 or 80.
I guess, but also Eddie Murphy clearly has great aim. Just shoot him in the head.
He also does the thing I do in video games, which is to hide and duck, so that when people come in, they shoot over your head.
Oh yeah, no, I love that one too. That one's a good one.
He gets some pretty good squib action here. And then outside, Taggart and Judge Reinhold are like pinned down, and Judge Reinhold starts talking about being the end of Butch Cassidy, which is
how they die.
That film. Yeah, pretty not the right thing to say in that moment, I would say.
And he keeps trying to say you're under arrest to the bad guys, and keep shooting at him.
It's a great rule of 3 because the first 2 are terrible, and the third one is with authority, and it works. Yeah. Eddie gets winged in the arm as part of the showdown
by Victor
right after he kills Mike Ehrmantraut. And then there's a great conga line of cop cars that like the first one stops and they just
because the security team that Victor Maitland
the panel truck yeah
they're like, he was like, you stay in this room and don't take your eyes off that screen, and then like the cops are coming, are you staying? Nope. And they both like dip and get in their car and cause a traffic jam in this round driveway.
So there's the big collision there. The lieutenant gets into the house somehow. We don't see this part, but he and Eddie like
he just teleports inside the house.
Maitland has Jenny with a gun to her temple, and Eddie's like not quite sure what to do, and then he yells something to her, and she basically sandbags.
So he's crouched, and then Lieutenant pops in behind him, and they both have their guns on him, and then Jenny takes the moment of like, she has a contribution in this fight, where she elbows him and jumps out of the way so they can shoot the fuck out of him.
I thought he yelled something. I thought she got a prompt and then she did the elbow. I guess.
No. It's Lieutenant pops in and says, "Freeze! Or something. Drop the weapon." Okay. And it's like enough to distract him so she can like give him a jab.
Yeah, she goes boneless.
A lot of squibs and a nice stair fall.
Yeah, really good, really good. This is a good bad guy death. This is what you want.
It's almost as good as the Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker death that we didn't see coming.
Yeah. And then we get the nice moment for Judge Reinhold where he stands up and is like, You're under arrest. Your weapons. And everybody complies, and he looks over to Taggart and he's like, not bad, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
The chief lies to the...
No, the chief shows up and is like, why is this man not in handcuffs? Take him into custody. And then the lieutenant spins a great quick on his feet lie about some like collaboration between the Detroit Police Department and the Beverly Hills Police Department and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And then he goes to the chief goes to Taggart and he's like, that's bullshit, right? And Taggart's like, no, that's exactly how it went down, almost word for word.
Yeah. You heard the chief. You heard the lieutenant.
Yeah. So the chief walks away. I guess the chief isn't in on it because I don't think he'd.
I was like, I guess he's not. He's just
not very
bad at his job.
Yeah. And we get the great line from Eddie Murphy to the lieutenant of, "You were lying your ass off."
Mm-hmm. And then he's like, if you could please call my boss and sort out my job,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah, that's a nice little moment too. And he's like, yeah, of course I'll do that. Or I do like the preamble to it. And he's like, is there one more thing you could do? And he's kind of like, I think you're out of favors, bud. And
I
it's
think
like,
you used them all up, buddy.
okay, I'll call your boss. That's fine. And then the final scene here is like just a lovely moment between Taggart and Judge and Eddie, where they go to the
Beverly
hotel.
Hills Police Department is going to pay for his hotel room because truly I don't know how he was planning on paying for that.
Yeah, and so he's like, you know what? I also want 2 bathrooms. He gives one to Judge Reinhold, and then he was walking away with Taggart, and Taggart's like, no, you keep it as a souvenir. And he goes, I got 3 in my bag. Fantastic.
Do you think they were charging for taking robes back then?
I mean, they explicitly tell you how much it costs at the front desk, so I have to.
Now, but they're not in then.
No, in the scene in the movie, Eddie says, do you sell those robes?
Yeah, but I think it's because he asked if you sold them. I don't know if they were charging bougie people for taking.
That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. My assumption is yes, but who knows? And then they have the nice final moment. It's like, aren't you going to say goodbye? And he's like, you guys are going to follow me out of town anyway, aren't you? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, well, let's go to the bar first.
Yeah.
We could have 1 beer while we're on duty, which I'm not sure
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's fine in this movie because this is a good movie. I was really worried watching this that you were going to really hate this because you didn't like Midnight Run, and I feel like these are kind of in the similar space and tone.
This seems. I mean, maybe again, my mental status wavers, but I think
I'm
this
glad
is
you enjoyed it.
way more fun. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I'm not really in the mood for something that I don't love. So I was really hoping I was gonna like it, and I do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm like dying to watch all of them, but.
My understanding is like this is an A, the next one is a B minus, the next one is a C minus D plus, and then Axel F. Who the hell knows? So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I've seen parts of this movie.
So it's diminishing returns, basically.
That is my understanding. It's like severe diminishing returns of like the third one. The third one takes place at like a fake amusement park, and the second one I think is just like the normal 80s sequel of like that thing you liked, but not as good the second time.
But more of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, louder and bigger and whatever, but just not as good. We may call an audible. I think the plan right now is we're going to do in 2 weeks we'll do part 3. But if these reviews come out for the new one and they're really strong, maybe we'll call an audible. Maybe it'll help the podcast get us more new listeners. So we may keep it tuned to the socials. We may do Axel F instead of 3. We'll announce that ASAP. But yeah, I highly recommend this. It's a tremendously good time. It's maybe 5 minutes too long, but it's not like
it's a little too long, but not bad.
I mean, it's an hour of like 44, 45. Like, it's hard to complain too much about a 105-minute movie in the modern era.
I mean, again, you know me, a tight 90.
Yeah. But, the performances are pretty much across the board great. Eddie Murphy is clearly just like at the height of his powers here, and he just crackles on the screen. It's amazing. It's just one of those the right kind of charisma that just the camera loves you, baby. It really does. It just really does. There's no other way to put it. Just sometimes you watch a movie like that and it's just like, yeah, that's where that phrase comes from. This right here. Same thing with as I was telling you before, Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts in that movie. It's just like,
oh yeah,
you can't take your eyes off her. It's amazing. Anyway, highly recommend. If you haven't done it, please go rate and review the show. That really helps us out. We read those on the air. So email your screenshot to dissectingthe80s@gmail.com if you want us to read it out. But even if you don't want us to read it, do it. We'd appreciate it. We get them sent to us for Apple Podcasts, but nothing else. So we're happy to read those if you got them. Don't forget to hit us up on the socials. It's Dissecting the 80s on Facebook and Instagram, and at Dissect the 80s on Twitter. Trying to get the Instagram going again. Working on trying to be better about the socials. And if you have another social media you think we should be on, do that. That'd be great. And you can also follow me at Triplano on Letterboxd if you want more movie stuff from me. We will be back in 2 weeks with either Beverly Hills Cop 3 or 4. Stay tuned to the socials, and we will post which one it is. And thank you so very much for listening to the show. I have been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next time.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.